Thank you for joining me for this video. In this video, we will be discussing the Financials Trade Navigations button. We use the Financials Trade Navigations button to manage trades. We need first to set up a trade account within the accounts manager of this application. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dummy trade. We're going to set this dummy trade account up for initially $26,000 with a 3-to-1 ratio, and we need to indicate that this is a trade account. These values are needed because they are required and/or used else places within this application. Now that each entry is filled, or the entries are filled appropriately, we now close the accounts manager. We then re-enter the applications manager so that we can now import information we obtained from our trade platform. Meaning, there are two ways to use the Financial Trade Log Manager. You can manually input information on a per trade basis, or you can use an export from your trade platform. My trade platform provides this CSV file of all the trades in which that I've executed. This is the file that we're going to be using for this demonstration. To import a CSV file, there are 3 phases to the import. The first phase is selecting the file itself and then importing it. Once phase 1 is complete, you want to then verify the information was correct in your CSV file before initiating phase 2. What phase 2 actually does, it looks through the information to try to determine the entries and the exits per trade. Upon completion, we then initiate phase 3. If there's an error, you will get a notification that the update wasn't successful and where the likely error is located. On line 586, it indicated could be the possible error. So we are going to clear the trade status entry and then go look at the trade itself. In this case, we had a buy of AA and then a short sell of AA, which is incorrect. It should have been a sell of AA. Once we make the necessary corrections, we then again press phase 2. Once phase 2 calculations are complete, we should get a dialog box. The dialogs indicate that phase 2 is successful. Verify that the information was updated completely, and then initiate phase 3. What phase 3 actually does, it indicates each trade number. Trade 620, 621, 622, and so forth. Once all the updates are complete, you can then hit close, and the update is saved. We then can use the Financial Trade Navigation button to view our imported information. The Financial Trade Summary is broken into 2 parts. Upper and lower. The upper part indicates the portfolio information such as your initial starting capital, your net profit loss, the dollars spent, the shares traded, if there's shares still open, and so forth. The lower indicates the trades themselves. Also, risk and profit. Now let's enter a trade manually. We use the Applications Manager, select the trade account we just created, and then hit Import. Since this is an example, we're going to call it an entry. Each trade platform gives you a trade number, so we're going to call this 01 for this example. Types of trades is equities. Time of day, 12 o'clock. The date trade type, we're going to use a buy of 100 shares of IBM at an average price of $115 with a total commission of $3.50 with a profit target of, we're trying to get to 120 with a stop of 113. That's an alert that we have built into the database that kind of went off, which we discussed in the prior video. So we got a stop of 113 and there are no other associated fees. So that was a manual entry. If we do not want to save this entry, we can click this radio button, and upon closing this window, all the information will be removed. But since we want this information, we're going to clear the radio again and hit close. Once we enter the Financial Trades Manager, the trade number is red. This indicates that this trade is still open. As we see here, we still have 100 shares of buy IBM. We have a profit target and a stop. By double clicking on the stop, it will give us the amount of dollars we have at risk, the percentage at risk, and our expected profit target. Now, if we go to the trade 627 and click the notes, within notes we want to indicate how we felt or any information you would like. I'm just going to put test. Now once we close the window, we can see that there's yellow, which indicates there's a note behind this window. We can also add attachments. Now let's close this trade. We go back into the App Manager, select Trade, Import. Since we know we had an entry, we're going to call this an exit 02. Equities, time was 1300. The date, the trade type, we buy, so we sell to get out. Number of shares, the symbol, average price, we're going to say we got 118 out of this one. The same commission. We do not need a target or a stop, and there were no associated fees. Close the window. Once you go back to the Financial Trades Manager, you can see now we have our trade, and now we can use 627, double click to close highlighted trade to close the trade. Now we have 627 and 628, which are the trades associated to this one trade. Hit calculate. Calculate will then calculate your profit, your total commission, and also put an account link update. Now once you close, the red is gone, which indicates that this record has been closed. Thank you for joining me for the Financial Trade Navigation button, and we look forward to you joining me for future videos. Thank you. Have a good night.